Philly story.
We figured.
I got to return Thompson's call. He asked who we should put in the lineup tonight.
Vic, what do you think's clicking with the red zone defense from your perspective?
You know, every trip down there is an adventure in and of itself. We practice a lot, you know, so the game changes when you're in the red zone. It's not a good thing to be in the red zone on defense, but it is a defensive advantage with that inline being right there. So the game changes, you know, the way the game is played, particularly in the passing game. So we try and get our players used to doing that.
How big do you think it was you got those stops in the red zone Sunday, forced them to kick field goals?
Yeah, it was huge. You know, just add a couple, 4 more points to when it was 26-7, and probably a different outcome.
What were the issues on the run defense in the first half?
Yeah, it was, as usual, conglomeration of things. One, could have been in better calls. 2, we could have played what we were in better. They do a good job blocking. Got to give them credit. Their backs ran good. So it was a little bit of everything.
More impact than Jordan Davis had on the defense when he's playing at this level?
How much more? He's doing pretty good right now. Hopefully he'll sustain that and get better. Guys get better the more they play, and he's still a young player.
Vic, how do you feel Quinion did shadowing Devontae and handling that responsibility?
I think he did fine. Obviously, he's a hard guy to cover. You know, they had 2 really good receivers. So I think he did fine. You know, when you're matching guys, it's not as easy as you think it is. You know, there's the gymnastics of getting lined up, playing the call. You know, where did you end up on the previous play? How far away from the action were you? And you got to get back, get the call. You know, it's everybody thinks it's easy, but it's not. And I think he's done a good job with it.
Aside from just him, how is the defense handling that? Because it's not just him that has to move around.
Yeah, it's the other corner. Yeah, the other corner has the same exact problem. And they've been doing fine with it.
Defensive tackle seems to be one of those positions where it takes time to the potential is fully realized for an NFL player. Do you have a thought on that position specifically, why it takes, you know, it could take a few years?
Yeah, I don't know that it's you can make a blanket general statement like that. To me, it's more the individual than the position. But it's different. I think one of the biggest differences between college and pro football is this is a man's game. The run game is more downhill than it is in college football. Generally speaking, some of the offensive linemen are veterans. Most teams have a lot of veteran O-linemen. They know how to play. They're older. And it's vastly different from college football.
Going back to Q a little bit, traveling, is that sort of an X and Z thing? If do the receivers have to stay outside, or are you comfortable if they move inside as well? In the slot. So if the receiver.
Yeah.
Or
Outside.
just outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some of these depth corners, whether it's
What's that?
for some of the depth corners, whether it's Keely Ringo, Mac McWilliams, are they able to make strides when they're on scout team or?
Yes, they are.
And have you seen anything from them in the past few weeks that would demonstrate improvement from training camp?
Yeah, I've told Keely here recently, you know, not in the last few days, but since the end of camp, I mean, he's going to get his opportunity at some point, and he got to be ready.
How did you feel Jacory played that when he came in? He obviously went after him quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know how many snaps did he have? I know you know.
12. It was 11 or 12.
11 or 12?
12.
Yeah, he got some action, obviously. Thought he had some good plays. You know, one time we were rolled up to him, and I think it was the first play of the 2-minute drive, and had a nice play, broke up the pass down the sideline. So I think he did fine.
Getting back to what you just said about Keely, how was he handled? Obviously, he was disappointed at the end of camp. He didn't win that job. How was he handled, and what gives you the confidence that, you know, at some point he'll be out there?
I think he's handled it very well, hadn't affected his role as a special teamer, which he's one of the top ones in the league. And I think he knows that eventually he'll get a shot, for some reason whatsoever, and he'll be ready.
Have you historically had safety rotations, and if not, why do you feel it necessary to do it this year?
No, historically, no. We started that way in the first game just because Makuba, was coming off injury. Sydney was having a good camp, so we just wanted to split it that way. And we've kind of kept it that way, but doesn't mean that's the way it will be all the time.
In an ideal world, would you rather have just two static players back there?
I mean, that's usually the way it works out. I don't know that ideal is the right way to frame that, but that's usually the way it works out.
For Jalen Carter playing 91% of the defensive snaps, 9 special team snaps, are you seeing strides how you want as far as the conditioning?
Yeah, he's obviously the more he plays, the better conditioning he'll get into. So yes.
What are the Bucs offense? What do they do well, and why did you struggle against them last year?
Well, they're very balanced. They run it good. They throw it good. They got really good receivers. The quarterback is playing really good. He's a scrambler. He scrambled, I think, 11 times this year for close to 120 yards already. So that's always an issue. I've always liked Mayfield. I think he's a good quarterback. Why these teams that had him didn't keep him, I don't know. But GMs make mistakes, just like coaches do. I've always liked Mayfield. And their backs run hard and good, so they got balance.
And the second part of that was, why did you struggle against them last year?
We just didn't play good, and they did, and they took it to us.
They made you tackle, and I think tackling was an issue from what I recall.
In that game?
Yeah, early on. How do you feel like it's been so far this season to tackle?
It hadn't been terrible. I thought we were very good in the second game. Can't remember the first game now. I move on.
Yeah, I get it.
We heard your opinion on heat in the summertime during training camp. Obviously, it's going to be hot down in Tampa. You guys are leaving early to adjust for it. How might the heat impact your rotations, and how do you go about planning for that earlier in the week?
Well, it's too late to do anything right now for it, as far as prepping for it. You don't practice in the heat one day and say you're acclimated, or take a pill and say you're acclimated. The key will be, it's a mindset, number one. Number two, we need to not let them have 8, 10, 12 play drives on us.
Do you think going early is going to benefit you guys in any way?
I don't know.
What factored into going lighter on edge rushers with the inactives especially?
We had 4, right?
You had Patrick Johnson was down. He had been up the previous 2 games, and then the 2 veteran guys were down as well.
Yeah, to me, that's one that's always going to be fluid, either having 4 or 5. If we go down to 3, then you got a valid question.
Fair enough.
Although we played an entire season once when I was in San Francisco with just 3 active.
What do you think of the pass rush as a whole? Because Stafford's going to get the ball out on time, so often it doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But what do you think of that?
Yeah, I didn't think the lack of pass rush was an issue in the game. Like you said, he gets it out fairly quick. We had some good heat at times. We could have run a stunt or 2 better than we did. But yeah, we didn't have any. Well, we had 1, but I don't think that's reflective of the pass rush overall.
All right. Thanks, sir.
All right.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Vic.